Hey there, my friend. It's Trisha Carr. Real quick before we head into this episode, I just want to make sure that you know about Modern Mystic Life, a subscription service for spiritual mentoring and education. The monthly subscription is only $11.11 per month. We have regular support and inspiration delivered with the utmost ease right into your text messenger 2 to 4 times per week. You can use your mobile device or your desktop messenger to access the lessons and meditations, a monthly MP3 download of a produced meditation, at least once per month live meditation led by me. There is no account login, and we have a monthly live class workshop. These are usually $35 for non-subscribers, so it is quite a deal. And the community is amazing. This is a way for you to support the Charmed Life podcast and also a way for us to be able to work more closely together. So do check out how you can subscribe in the show notes. I hope to see you there. Hello and welcome to the Charmed Life podcast. This podcast is all about magic, metaphysics, mysticism, and the unconditional love of the universe, and I am your host. My name is Trisha Carr. We have a really beautiful episode for you today. This is all for the love of projectors, human design projectors. If you've been listening to this podcast lately, then we have been talking about human design quite a lot. I've been having some really illustrious guests. Well, to me, they are. And so I want to invite you that if you have not quite gotten into your human design experiment yet, I want to make sure that you know that you can find your chart. Really, it's pretty easy. There are so many sites that will give you your human design chart now if you just Google it. And so I'll just leave that up to you. And you can find the way that it actually calls out to you. Jovian Archive is the official site of traditional human design, the foundation. And but then there are other teachers who have offerings that will get you your chart. You do need your birth time and the city of birth, and that is the way to get started. Get started with just understanding your aura type and looking at your strategy, and then after that, authority and your profile. And in addition to that, I want to invite you to, take the pace with it that feels right for you, contemplating the information that's coming through. Now, for some, that might be lickety-split, move right quickly. And for others, it might be, let me sit with that information and just be aware of it. Let it, kind of mull around in your awareness. That seems to be pretty common. And so I do have a human design expert on, and I wanted to share a story with you about one projector in particular, because my expert, this conversation is with Sarah Lemmerman of the Projector Movement, and I'll tell you all about Sarah and the Projector Movement in just a moment. But I wanted to share with you a story of well before I knew about human design, that, our design and the way that we are authentically ourselves, when we are in alignment, when we are operating correctly for ourselves, we are magnetic and life works. So the story is about how I met my husband, who is a projector, and he was living about, at the time that we actually met, we lived about, I think, 30 miles apart from one another. And in LA, that's quite a distance. And so before we had met, it turned out that we had both been driving on the same night of the week to one another's neighborhoods. And he actually literally was going to, I was a manager of a bar, and he was going to my bar to hang out with a friend who lived locally. And that was the night that he was going to my bar, was the only night that I was off. So for months, he was going to my bar and didn't meet me. And my colleague actually at the bar, the cocktail server, loved going to this nightclub that was right 2 miles from his house. It was a really big venue. So on my night off, I was getting in the car with my friend who's a cocktail server who loved to dance at this nightclub. And my future husband was getting in his car and driving to meet his friend at the bar that I managed. Months, we're going back and forth on the 101, passing each other, not meeting each other. And the night that we met was actually not that night that I was usually off. It was the last night that I worked at that job, though. And this same friend was cocktail serving that night. And she's like, come on, let's close up early. The bar's empty. Who cares? Leave the keys, let's close up early. No one's here. And let's go ahead and let's get an hour of dancing in at our favorite nightclub. And so we did. And we went. And like I said, it was 2 miles from where my husband lived. And he happened to be there. And he, he's a composer, he's a musician. And at that time, he was writing a lot of songs. So part of the reason he liked to go to the nightclub was to listen to the music. This is a long time ago. This is 2004. If you have been dating any time in the recent past, then, this is like analog apps. This is the applications. You just go to a nightclub. That's how it happened. And so, long story short, we met that night. And it was the last night that I worked at that bar. So his going to visit me, potentially meet me on the night I was off, was not going to happen. And honestly, this friend of mine, we stopped going out to dance at that nightclub. That was the last time we went there together. Not because our friendship fell apart, but just the habit of it from working and then going, It just didn't work out. And so even though we had sort of been operating against, it seems in a way, the magnetism of us meeting and going to places where we may have been, the very last opportunity to do it, I went and we found each other. And that was, like I said, 2004. And here we are at 18 and a half years together. And, it just works out. Going to the nightclubs and everything at the time was fun for me. I was doing something that I enjoyed, and so was he. And honestly, after we met, he said he never really went to nightclubs again. And it wasn't because we fell into an immediate commitment. It just sort of fizzled out, the interest in that. So, we really are magnetic, and we really are magnetizing our highest good to ourselves. If we are good to ourselves, we are kind. And human design, I think, really supports that, because we are conditioned to feel that we need to be different than we are. And it's a lifelong process as an adult, I think, to decondition. And as we're doing that process, when we have a technology such as human design is, in my experience, the most useful and supportive of technologies, spiritual technologies that can help us with deconditioning and operating with our authentic design that the universe co-created us in. And so that's my invitation to you, is to find allow your magnetism to be vibrant as you decondition and come into alignment with what is absolutely correct with you, your soul, your purpose, and your life. And so now, to lead into this conversation with my guest, Sarah Lemmerman. Sarah is an integrative counselor and deconditioning specialist at the Projector Movement. She received her master's degree from the California Institute of Integral Studies in East-West Psychology and has spent many years studying and working with projectors. After graduation, Sarah began her integrative counseling practice, however, was still finding herself burnt out and exhausted. On the brink of another health crisis, the stars and the universe miraculously aligned to guide Sarah to the human design system. Finding out she was a 5/1 splenic projector was a life-changing moment and changed the course of her professional and personal life. After deeply diving into the deconditioning process herself, she has now spent the last 5 years of her private practice strictly working, teaching, and guiding projectors. In addition to working with projectors, Sarah leads training through the Projector Movement and is also a healer in ceremonial containers. Her deepest passion in life is helping facilitate others in reconnection to their truest nature, which she believes is the highest form of liberation. Aside from all things human design and ceremonial healing, Sarah loves spending time in nature, cooking without following a recipe, creating music playlists, restorative yoga, and spending time with loved ones and her dog, Shaggers. So we do talk about what the Projector Movement is in this conversation. Essentially, it is a movement to support, guide, and decondition and train projectors There are different offerings that they have of teaching, and also to be able to get a really profound and beautiful, tailored to projectors chart reading. So, without further delay, I want to invite you into this conversation with the wonderful, intense, and beautiful energy with Sarah Lemmerman, and I will chat with you on the other side. Well, Sarah, welcome. Always so excited to connect with a projector. I mean, they're my favorite because I picked one to live my life with and I surround myself with them. So I'm really excited about all of the work that you're doing and all of the work that the Projector Movement is doing. So thank you for coming on. And would you mind giving us a glimpse into the wonderful world of being a projector and let us know about the journey you've been on and the work that you're doing, please?
Yes. Well, first, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here and to connect with someone who loves projectors. I will say that. So your first question was just being about what a projector is and
Sure,
how, yeah. Okay. So projectors, I guess I'll intertwine my story and why I'm here and how I got excited about this work. Projectors, we are a rare breed in human design. We're around 20% of the population, and we are designed very differently than the rest of the 80%. And our design, there's a lot of gifts, there's a lot of intuitive wisdom that comes through us, there's a lot of perception. And in exchange for that, we come with not as much energy to be in the 9 to 5 work world or to be able to accomplish a lot. And human design, thank God, has a system now that can identify you as a projector, where growing up, most people didn't have that knowledge or awareness or understanding that they actually are designed to operate very different than this current lifestyle has taught us to be. Mm-hmm. So my journey, and I find this to be quite common with projectors, I started my career in pharmaceutical sales of all things. So for 10 years, I was in a what you would call a generating kind of a job. So most of the world, for those who are unaware of human design, about 65% of people fall into the category of a generator, and generators are able to work, hence the word generator. So I followed a path into a very non-projector workforce. And after it took me 10 years to finally realize or get the courage to leave it, I finally, due to injury, which is common for projectors, we tend to get burnt out or get injured. And then it's like, okay, life is pushing us somewhere else. And I finally took that injury. I injured my back and I switched careers and decided to go back to school in San Francisco at the California Institute of Integral Studies and majored in East-West psychology. I serendipitously allowed life to guide me, and I went in the school thinking I was going to become a yoga therapist, and I exited the school I switched my thesis actually and started studying indigenous plant medicine, and then was introduced to human design. And when I first found out I was a projector, when I was studying human design, I had the biggest aha moment. So many pieces of my life finally made sense because I've always known something about me was different. I got sick a lot more than my family members and friends. I wasn't able to sustain a normal 9 to 5 job. And after going to various doctors and all these different diagnoses, this one made the most sense. This description of what a projector is. And I believe the reason I struggled so much was because I wasn't given the right manual on how I needed to operate in this world. Yeah. And for me as a projector, when I was reading about what it means to be a projector and how we can get sick, I was like, oh my gosh, I really am passionate about this. And I want to bring my wisdom that I've learned from my psychology background and help other projectors come into alignment. That's pretty much what I would say that my work is now through the projector movement. I'm less the person that does the human design chart readings. I work with people who are either in that 9 to 5 job trying to get out, or are trying to create a life and a work, mostly a work life that is suitable to a design that doesn't have as much energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can you let us know what the projector movement is?
Yes.
Yes, I mentioned it in the introduction, but I want to hear like everything that's going on with the projector movement.
Totally. Thank you for asking. So, the projector movement was created by a man named Charlie McGinnis, who happens to be my fiance now.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and he was in Bali about, I think it was maybe 4 years ago. And same thing, he stumbled upon human design in Bali. He had never heard of it, found out he was a projector, and had a dream to create a movement to
Oof,
bring,
I
yes,
just got the chills. Like, I mean, I knew it's called projector movement, but
yes.
I felt it. It like shot up my spine when you said it. Yeah.
So he had a dream to bring projectors together to unite us, so to speak, because in the human design um, school, the creator of human design said that in the year 2027, projectors are going to be the guides of of the future.
Yeah.
And that my belief is that projectors who are finding out they're projectors now and doing the work, meaning that the deconditioning work to unlearn the ways that they were raised and to relearn the ways that they should be in life, to help whatever shifts happening on this planet and where we're moving, to bring the projectors together to help create a better world.
Yeah.
And so that's what the projector movement is. We now have 6 projectors in the movement doing various roles. So it's grown quite a bit over the last few years. And it's really cool to be a part of such an eclectic group of people. We are,
Wow.
I would say, a common trait of a projector is we have a bit of an outlier quality to us. We have a new way of seeing things, a different perspective, and to be around that and to meet so many people is really a beautiful gift that I feel that I get to do and be around for what I do for work now.
Mm, that's amazing. My husband, as I mentioned, is a projector, and he also loves the outliers. Like we we like go to someone. This has happened a few times. Where we're going to someone's party, or like there's this friend of mine. They moved away. We're not really close. She's not listening. Anyway, the point is, we went to their Thanksgiving, and she has a weird uncle. I mean, many of us do, but like a really offbeat guy. Even has his name was he had an interesting name too. It's just I'm not going to mention it, but because I don't want to make fun of anyone's name. Anyway, but my husband walks in and he just feels the energy of that man, and he went and sat down right next to him, and he's just like, I want to hear everything you have to
Totally,
say.
totally. Yes, yes, totally. Very projector like.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And like just plugged right into him. I can still
yeah.
picture it.
That's so funny because I feel that that's a projectors. I'm not the spokesperson for all projectors, but I would say if I were to stereotype them, we actually find more comfort in the odd one than
Mhm.
like bring us to a party and put us in some sort of small talk conversations to be very challenging for us. Find the weird uncle and we're like, yeah, tell me all about you. Like, I want to know everything. We'll go deep. We like to go deep with people. We want to feel
Yeah.
real. We want to feel authentic.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I completely resonate with that too. And my husband picked a weird one because I'm a weird one. So it worked out for us.
Yeah.
Um, I'm feeling like maybe is Obama gonna come back after 2027? Wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh my gosh. He's a projector,
I know, that's why
Yeah.
I'm
And did you know his wife was? Michelle is as well.
Oh no, I never looked up her
I
chart.
just found that out too. Yeah. So that's a projector couple.
I love it. And
Yeah.
it is really interesting how that does happen a lot, that the energy types tend to find
I'm
one another. I mean, not always, but I have quite a few projector couples friends. So
okay. Yes.
there's a lot more than 20% of you in my life.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Much more. I'm very comfortable. And someone I just talked to on the podcast who is a projector also, and I told her how comfortable I was with projectors. She was like, I've never heard that. I always just hear the projectors are so intense. And I'm like, oh,
Totally,
well,
totally.
I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, totally. We can be. People can feel, because one of our gifts is our ability to see into
Mhm,
people deeply.
mhm.
And part of the strategy to be an aligned projector is to wait for someone to invite you in to share our feedback. And oftentimes projectors don't know that, and we just give people advice, or people can feel like we're staring too deeply in them, that it can feel invasive. So it sounds like you're around a lot of projectors who are in great alignment and know how to yield that intensity in
Well,
their perception.
my husband, I mean, we've been together 18 years, so he hasn't been perfectly invited the
That's
whole time.
totally, I can imagine.
He's gonna make some mistakes, but he does. But since we have come into the understanding, and he's super gratified and edified by human design and understanding his being a projector. I learned about human design in April of 2019,
Okay.
and at first it's a lot of people. Well, actually, no. I just talked to a manifesting generator today who like is deep in the Karen Curry Parker program, and she just learned about it in spring. Like she, and I was like, "Oh, I put it away for months," and she goes,
Yes.
"Well, I skipped that step." She's a manifesting generator.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, but and I'm a spiritual teacher and I'm intuitive, and I've been doing this work for many, many years now. But and he's totally, he's interested and he has a meditation spiritual practice and everything, but human design has been the thing he's like just it has to prove itself wrong to me. It has to prove that it doesn't work in order for me to not be so just blessed by it, really. It's really been helping him so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Human design, to me, where I come from, so my pharmaceutical background, I come from the sciencey background. And for me to, when it was introduced to me at my university, I didn't poo-poo it, but I was like, oh, this is just some other astrology thing. And until I was able to understand it from that scientific lens, because it's human design is not just an astrology system. It's based also with metaphysics, with these, it's a concept, neutrinos, that these particles that we can, it's like you said, that it's almost an exact science now, which when I understood that, and now I'm totally into the star, like I switched from being, purely science to the blend of both worlds.
Yeah.
And with your husband being a projector, and I find that especially projectors, when they get this language from this system, they feel so affirmed.
Yeah.
There's a validation that we've been looking for our whole lives. Like I said, when had health issues or autoimmune issues, and I would go to the doctor, no one was saying, oh, you don't have your sacral's open, that no one was able to say that. And so I was being given all of these reasons why I was tired or sick. And now with this language, it was liberating. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
well, I was sick because I wasn't designed to run the same race that this world has taught me to run. I'm actually designed to sit under the tree and observe it. And so there was a liberation. There was also a sadness of like, oh my gosh, how sad
Mhm.
it was that I've lived like this. And for my parents, it's like, wow, we could have saved so much in trying to figure me out. Because my two sisters, one's a manifesting generator and a generator. You'd think, well, we're the same. And it's like, no, 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 very different. And the truth is, and I find this with projectors, is we have a deep inner knowing that we are different. And of course, everyone's different, but there's a substantial difference in the existence of being a projector at this time on this planet. That when you get that affirmation, or you're introduced to human design and that you're a projector, it's very easy to go like nose deep in it, because you're finally getting that affirmation, like, okay, I'm not crazy. There is something genetically different about me.
Yeah, exactly. It is genetics.
Yes.
I mean, it is a genetic predisposition. What I really love, one thing about, so just for everyone who's listening, so human design, if you've listened to the podcast before, I've had several episodes on human design, but it always bears a review that it's a synthesis of four human observational sciences, ancient ones. So astrology, chakra system, Kabbalah Tree of Life and
Mhm.
the I Ching. What I
Yeah.
think is so beautiful about those is that it's human awareness for centuries and centuries across the whole globe. And that to me, I don't, that just, I'm like feeling I'm reflecting the whole plan. I'm sampling all of it. Just
Yes.
so
Totally.
beautiful. And
Yeah.
then that other piece is quantum physics,
Yes.
and this is why, I mean, it was less than 100 years after the birth of quantum physics that we were ready for it to dawn into our awareness, for this synthesis to be given to us. But it was still, you know what I mean? Like we evolved very slowly in a physical sense. So I think it makes a lot of sense that maybe quantum physics had become ubiquitous enough that we could maybe understand a neutrino field and understand that these snapshots are the moments of our design and our, and at birth as well, and the importance of those. And so I think that there's so much about it that's so rich and so beautiful, and it really is like the mysteries that we have planted in the earth. The mystery schools of old used to talk about how there were mysteries that were planted in the earth, these esoteric arts and wisdom that the earth was holding for us, and that we had to pursue it, like an initiate needed to pursue it in order to be able to experience it. And they would open up by gatekeepers and guides of light at the right time. And so that's just what I see that happened in 1987. Is it 86 or 87? I always forget which year Who channeled it.
I
It's
think
one of those.
87.
87, right?
I believe 87.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just really what I find so amazing about that is that it's actually for you said a manual. It really is like a user manual for your operating system. And I don't think there's any coincidence that not me, but collective, we made computers the way that we did, with hardware, software, applications. Like the applications are like gates and, different kinds of software, the channels and the centers. We made it in our likeness, and so this is like the user manual of it. And I find it to be so, the precision of something like a birth time that puts it all in alignment is something that makes me feel more comfortable than, say, one, and I don't mean to down talk any other paradigm, but like the Enneagram, that's totally subjective. You take a test, that's
Totally.
subjective.
Totally.
This is more empirical. It's based on empirical evidence, I think.
Definitely. Definitely. That's what I also love about it too. I I believe where we're moving as a culture is to celebrate the uniqueness of us. Where growing up, I think there was so much, we all just wanted to be like, you want to just fit in. And this to me really illustrates the scientific ancient wisdom, as you said. These are traditions that have been around for thousands and thousands of years, based in, if everything's connected, based in how we're connected to the stars and the sky and the planet, that can really allow you to celebrate this unique purpose that you came here, you and creator, you and God, whatever you believe, that we have our own thumbprint. And it's so specific, as you said, there's 64 gates, there's different lines. I mean, it's such an algorithm of specificity. I said that right?
Pretty
And
close. I think so. Yeah.
yes,
I'm with you on it.
got it. But it really, it's so fascinating because when I've done charts for my nieces and nephews, or I do them for my sisters, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's just who they are. It's in their chart that they're this specific way. It's not because it's a part of their personality, but there's so much validation in there that we are so much more than connected and on purpose. It's not just some coincidence why we're on this planet and why we're interested in something. And to have a system that, like you said, has been backed by lineages and cultures of thousands and thousands of years, and then have it meet us here in modern day at this time on this planet where there's this great change happening. I think it's all on purpose. And
Yeah.
that piece of science coming into it is what I think makes this system stand apart than purely astrology on its own, one lineage. So yeah, it's super powerful.
And yet it's not a belief system. No, I mean, not even and yet. Honestly, the I Ching isn't really a belief
No,
system.
right.
Yeah, And the chakra system isn't really a belief system. It's mirrored in psychology. Abraham Maslow created the hierarchy of needs and self-actualization. It's the chakra system. That's exactly.
100%. 100%.
So what I think is so great is, I mean, even the original channel voice founder, Ra Uru Hu, he insisted that it wasn't his system and that it was for us to continue to elaborate upon and experiment with. I love that it's an experiment. And that is, people that get excited about it when we get into it, we want to learn all the things. We want to understand all of it, which is a delicious journey. But the best thing we can do is to experiment. And part of the experimentation is your own, like, that's very much obviously the base of it, but also talking to the people in your lives. And I got to tell you, looking at celebrities' charts really helps.
Yeah, totally.
They're just out there showing us their personalities. So
Yep.
yeah. And their bodies.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
So my husband is at a place as a projector, because the projector strategy is to be recognized and then invited. And that can be bad news, right? Our ego can take that in as bad news. Because how you force yourself to be recognized, and then we're not in an economy that can really wait. Nobody's helping us. We're really we feel very isolated, and we have to do what we can. I think one thing that I'm trying to help him with too is that you can also ask for the invitation some of the time. Yeah. Can you speak to that journey and the deconditioning? So to where do you feel good about that, about your strategy yet?
Totally. So yes, you are right. Projectors, part of our design is we're here to be seen. The challenge with projectors is we go about it in a way that actually can push people away. I talked a little bit about that a bit ago when the gift of, if you know a projector, you are a projector, is we have an open sacral center, which literally just means we're able to take in the energy of another person and then guide them, because we actually are feeling their energy field. And we wait for the invitation, because what we say is 9 out of 10 times extremely correct, but also can be very direct. And if the person that we're guiding has not asked us for their opinion, our advice or what we see can come across offensive. It can be really off-putting. And I believe life designed us that way because we aren't here to do that for everybody. We're not supposed to go up to everybody and tell everybody what's wrong with them. That's their karma, that's their life. However, if they're inviting you in, it means that whatever their energy is reverberating out, it's aligned with ours. And so they can actually hear you. They're ready to hear your advice because they're feeling that exchange is comfortable. Mm-hmm. So what I tell projectors, because yes, when you hear you're a projector and you find out you don't have the same amount of energy. So you're like, oh man, like I can't run that race. I can try really, really hard, but I'm never going to win. I just don't. And then I have to wait to be invited in, and I want to be seen. Like, how does this all work? And what I tell people, first and foremost, the more inner work the projector does to align themselves to the nature, the more life rewards you by a lot of people inviting you in. So I can say personally, when I found out about being a human design and the other line of work that I'm interested in, which is indigenous ceremonies and practice, and I would tell everyone at home, like, this is what I'm doing. And everyone looked at me like the crazy person, right? Because I still really hadn't done my own work. I had just learned about it. And I intuitively thought, you know what, if I'm such a firm believer in these paths and this work, I'm going to let my work speak for me. And so I stopped talking. And lo and behold, after a year or two, as I started to become more in alignment, as my truth began to be me, not just what I wanted to be, I actually was embodying it. Life was then inviting me in that way. And so what I say to projectors, the quickest way to be seen is first to see yourself.
Oh, yes.
To see yourself first and to not need it. When we need it, then we go about it in wonky ways. Then we say the thing at the dinner table that everyone's like, oh, we see you, but I don't know if you want it to be seen like that, right? So the people will see aspects of us that aren't really how we're wanting to be seen. So truthfully, I say to people, the more that you're able to be an embodied walk of your truth, people will come to you, because that's actually our design, is to be seen. It's having that patience and really first switching the direction of needing to be seen externally to internally, and to they say, to decondition, it's a 6-year process. For me, I think it's a lifetime process. It took us 30, 40 years to come to learn ways that aren't like us. It's going to take us some time to unwind it. And what you were saying about your husband, that's beautiful advice. If you have something that you want to share, you can ask the other person, hey, I'm receiving some insight. Are you curious? Can I share with you? And to be unattached. If they say no, trust that. Yeah. Trust that they're not going to hear even what you're wanting to say. So don't waste that energy, that limited energy that you have on someone who's not ready to hear it. And then don't take it personally either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't be bitter.
Like I don't think my truth is, and your husband might not like me saying this, I don't think we were really here to be the guides for our family members and our partners. Not that we can't give advice, because that's what we do, but my truth is, it's really important that a projector has a stage outside of their family and their friends to be seen and recognized and heard. It's just an easier exchange.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what Jesus said. A prophet isn't accepted in his own country. It's kind of
right. Totally.
And you and I are both 5/1s, and the 5 energy also has a bigger impact on strangers.
Yes.
I mean, that's an interesting thing to say, though, because of course we have impact on our very small family group as well, or it's a similar thing, though. The 5 energy is what you're talking about with the projector, because of course we heal one another and we challenge one another inside our partnerships and our families, but it's different. It's not as it's a different kind of karma. How about that? It's a way different kind of karma, isn't it?
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I one time invited my husband in the wrong way. I was not authentic with what I was asking him. But he took it on surface anyway. It's a funny story, because I'm like, I put on something and I was like, I came out and I was like, do I look like the fattest girl in the world today? And he goes, the fattest girl in the world today? And I was like, that's the wrong answer, man.
The answer was no.
No looking, just no. No, but it's funny. I mean, that's a joke, and it was funny to me. He didn't really do anything wrong, and I didn't really get my feelings hurt, because I was only kidding too. But it's a really kind of interesting model. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about insight, and I feel like you can do it professionally too. You could say, hey, can I bid for that job? Mm-hmm. Can I pitch for that job? Would that be maybe okay too?
Yeah, the question is the best buffer, is to ask, is this a position that I could apply for as well?
Yeah.
And see that response. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a safer, I say to projectors, it's actually the universe protecting you. Mm-hmm. It's actually the universe saying, like, this isn't an aligned invitation. And so if you're getting that pushback, say thank you, because you could have spent a lot of energy pursuing something that was not going to be for you anyway. So it's almost this built-in buffer that at first can feel really disempowering, but later on it's super empowering, because you have a sure way of knowing who's for you and who's not for you. And they say the projector school says that it's important to know that we're not here for everybody, and we actually don't get to choose who our audience or our clients are. Mm-hmm. They will come to us. So to let go of like, oh, well, I'm here to only work with this specific person is not really our strategy. We're here to match whatever frequency we're omitting to the people that are able to receive that frequency. Mm-hmm. So again, it's the more we do that inner work to align to the essence of what a projector's frequency is, the more doors actually open, because life's like, yeah, we want to get that frequency out. My truth is, the projector frequency is It's a more feminine frequency. It's a slower rhythm. It's much more aligned with nature's pace, and it's receptive. It is what I believe the planet's needing at this time, that what we're moving towards. We've been lopsided in much more masculine energy of doing and accomplishing and power over. And so I believe why projectors were built without this energy center is to begin to not just help projectors, but actually guide the rest of the world into a more balanced existence between the yin and the yang energy. To find the beauty in just being in life without needing to be so forward going or dominating or just achieving, conquering. Actually, how can we be and feel fulfilled in just existing like nature? So I feel that is ultimately why life really wants projectors at this time, to really embody that, because that's what I believe our medicine will be in the future as we move towards a new way of existing.
And we're talking about this new way of existing, and you mentioned it briefly about 2027. We have a cosmological shift occurring in 2027. The best way I describe it is like our background frequency is changing, and we're shifting from one certain global collective consciousness or unconsciousness. I don't both collective urge from being tribal to being individualized. But the interesting thing about the individuation of that energy is that it's going to actually make us more unified, because we're going to be fulfilling the self.
Yes.
And it won't be martyrdom or, power or struggle, and seeing that there are different tribes. Like, and it's like the pre-shadow of it. When there's a change, the old starts to fight back, because the politics is like so polarized. There's so much polarization, and there's also a different kind of foreshadow of the shift. So I would love to unpack that with you. And I just realized our next in the States, our next presidential election, we're going to elect someone in 24. And so it's going to go over the threshold of 27. I mean, it doesn't mean it's not going to necessarily be like, pow, Armageddon.
Right.
But I think there'll be a noticeable shift for those of us who are aware,
Yeah. No, I think that's a beautiful point, because I feel that all of these pivotal time periods from 2012, all these points, people are expecting, the Titanic to sink right away. And it's like, no, or it takes, the energies are now shifting, and we see the reverberation, over time, that we have moved from, the end of the Mayan calendar in 2012, the same thing for 2027, that there's going to be a new energy entering the planet that will begin to take us on a different course. We're going to begin to evolve in a different way. I know that in 2027, we enter the cross of the sleeping phoenix, this is that new energy that you were speaking of, the more individual energy, but it's not going to make us these autonomous humans. Like I foresee it as a time where the individual is actually fulfilled as the individual, instead of doing everything to be a part of something, that we actually have freedom to express ourselves, and we celebrate the difference in us, versus everyone needs to look the same, have the same job, live the same life. There'll be more of an individual expression, that will appreciate, I'll say, that there'll be appreciation to uniqueness, where I don't think that we've come from that so much. We've been more in a homogenous type of, we all should think the same, look the same, dress the same.
And we will be right back. Hi, it's Trisha with an exciting announcement. The Intuitive Healing Arts Academy has an amazing roster of courses for 2023, starting with immersive weekend courses in intuitive psychic development. Level 1 is Sunday, January 22nd from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time, and then levels 2 and 3 are held together in a weekend immersion on February 25th and 26th. Intuitive Psychic Development Level 1 is an immersive workshop filled with interactive learning, meditation, practice, fellowship, and attunement to open or enhance your intuitive skills. All levels of development are welcome, whether you are a beginner or you are an advanced professional. And if you are interested in using this for personal or for professional applications. After these intuitive psychic development courses, we will be heading into animal communication and nature healing and multidimensional mediumship, and many more exciting weekend and full-day workshops. All of these are for all levels of development for both personal and professional applications. As I said, there are early registrations for all of the courses, so you want to check them out as soon as they are announced. And so, do find the link in the description to register for the first full-day course, Intuitive Psychic Development Level 1, on Sunday, January 22nd, 2023. It's going to be fun. It's going to be life-changing. It's going to be heart-expanding. And I'm so excited to expand with you. And now back to the show. If you think about it, it's like, even though we are in a tribal energy now, what we're moving to is what the tribe, the inside of the tribe looks like. A tribe, like indigenous tribes, it was like, we see that this person has this kind of value, and this person will be the shaman. This person will be the so far as switching from tribal is tribe against tribe and there's others. And then also the concept of, well, sacrifice any and everything for the tribe. But do you know what I mean? Like, actually, the village will be complete because we will be that recognition of the individual more.
Yes, I love that you said that. The studies that I've done over the last 8 or 9 years studying different indigenous communities, there was this beautiful awareness that there was not one person's role that was better or worse than. Yeah. So the person that did the hunting was just as valuable as the person that was the shaman, or the person that was the tobacco carrier was just as important as the person that sewed the clothes. There wasn't this, even the chief, there was a structure of someone in leadership, but they weren't looked at as better or more powerful, but everyone's role was important, and it created the tribe to exist and function. Where if everyone was only able to sew clothes, well, that would be really challenging, because you needed food, you needed someone that would be able to hunt, or you needed someone, a medicine man or a medicine woman. And I pray and I believe we are going to begin to move to an awareness that, I think we've come from a culture that everyone's trying to become the richest or the best or the this or the that, and to realize, and through the lens of human design, when you see that everyone comes here with something so unique to themselves, that there is no such thing as better than. It's just everyone's coming on their own karmic journey to learn certain lessons and to be of use in this human body for a particular time in a really specific way.
That's beautiful. Oh gosh, I just love that piece of our conversation there. It's almost like the whole world is becoming one tribe.
Yeah, I pray for that. Time.
I mean, just think how amazing it would be if every one of the generators on the earth were doing what they love.
I know.
It would be so beautiful. Like, the rest of us could just like fuck off, honestly. It would be humming so beautifully.
Yeah, totally.
I'm kidding, of course, but yeah. So the projectors moving into that place of guidance. See, guidance powers out the window. That, like you said, the chief of the tribe, the chief is the humblest. It's the chief is the one who has the most responsibility. So that's actually, it's like the parent in a family. The parent in the family doesn't think, well, I'm more important than my child.
Right.
They put their child above them. So that's kind of that's what it's like, I guess. The projector is really that divine parent energy.
Absolutely. Divine parent energy, here to guide. And I will say that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I work a lot with projectors that we're here to guide. We're not here to fix. And I feel that a lot of projectors, because we're good at helping people, we find ourselves in these roles where we think we're here to like fix people and save people. Hello, fifth line.
I was going to say, unless you're fifth line, you're literally supposed to fix things.
Right. And the truth of a projector is, when invited in, we're here to guide, but to operate from a knowing that no one really needs fixing, that I'm not here to save you. I'm here to help maybe shine a little light on the path that you can walk fully and capably on your own. And maybe you just need to know, am I needing to go left or right? But from not a to not have this perception that I'm like the saviors of the world. I'm the therapist of the world. We're not. We're guides, and it's an important distinction
Mm-hmm.
from where we've been.
Right. And because sometimes guidance is in non-action and non-speaking, conscious silence,
Mhm.
and yeah, not accepting an invitation, maybe if it's not
Definitely,
correct.
definitely.
You know that I know that like the generator aura is called very magnetic. But in
Mhm.
fact, we're all magnetic as long as we're in alignment. And that's how we can trust whatever the strategy is. That's how a projector is very magnetic. I think it
Mhm.
was Ra I heard once say that the projector is like a cat, you know. I mean, unless like I have a million cats and I love cats, but the cat walks in the room and it's like, oh, I want to know him or
Yes,
her.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
We
And
have
they just, it draws you to them. Mm-hmm.
our aura is it's magnetic and it's penetrative. So it's like this energy
Mm-hmm.
where generators is magnetic, but it's open.
Mm-hmm.
They're more open where we come in with this and call it an intensity. The room will change when a projector walks in, especially if
Yeah.
they're in an intense mood. You'll be able to feel it. So there's this real intense, focused, penetrative type of aura around projectors,
Mm-hmm.
which goes for us or against us, depending if we know how to yield the energy.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to my friend Hillary Jackendoff, who's a reader, and she's a splenic projector as well.
Mm,
And we were just talking about, well, we were talking about the sort of distinctions, the differences with projector and reflector. And because she was wondering if projectors amplify. And I was like, I think it's not really amplification because you take in the other and I think you intensify it. I think it's actually kind of a different process.
yes,
Yeah. You
yes,
kind of shake it down and then if invited, then you can give it back like
yes,
an artist in a new way. Like you can give it back in a more profound way than just the original energy. Whereas amplification, I think all of the centers that are open do the amplification, and then the aura will do something else with that amplification if you have those open centers. And then since the reflector is all open, we sample and we give back, but it's really quickly, and it's kind of like just expanding a space in a way that's sort of subtle, I think.
yes. Projectors aren't subtle.
Right.
That would be a word that we probably could work on, but no, we do like if we will take in the energy of the other and like one up you in a sense so that
Mm-hmm.
will exaggerate that and that is exactly why if someone isn't wanting that and we're doing that, it can be really invasive or
Mm-hmm.
they will look to the projector as and they will feel a repelling kind of like ugh, that person's just too much. Because in a sense, and I say this with parentheses, we're actually amplifying a part of them that they're not ready to look at. So
Mm-hmm.
there's an energy in them that we're now turning up a little louder and they're like, they don't know that about themselves or they're not wanting to. It becomes really off-putting.
And you're just curious about it because it's a human thing. You know what I mean? Like, because I
Totally.
have that. I can relate to that. I'm just curious
Yeah,
about all of the weirdness that all of us are, not that
totally.
but they're, when someone is feeling vulnerable and, in a trauma response and they aren't doing self inquiry, they don't know that self inquiry is safe.
Yes.
That's when I think it can be tough. Because I'm sure you work with. I mean, I've come across people who either respond to my work or they're my friends or something like that, and they say like, "I don't meditate because I feel really uncomfortable and angry and
Mm,
sad." And it's like, no, that already lives in you. That's like the process isn't making you that.
that's just
That's
fair.
that's leaving you. So they don't realize that this process is actually safe and is making you safer. And
Mhm.
that's what it would be. That's, interacting with a projector, intensifying a part of you, shaking it down and impacting and making it really like dense, not in a bad way dense, but you know what I mean? Like making it more intense.
Yes.
It's a good thing.
Yes,
Hmm.
definitely.
So, my mother, well, I found out, much later in it that my mother's a manifesting generator. She's a sacral, authority. But yeah, just like you were saying, it was really weird for me growing up. My mother, I'm the kid, but my mother has like can run laps around me. It's like cleaning the house at 4 in the morning,
Yes.
and I'm like needing to sleep until 10 because it's finally Saturday. And
Yeah.
so, and then my family, I don't know all of my sisters' types, but I know one of them is definitely a manifester.
Okay.
Um, I can tell. And the other two, I think, are generators. But anyway, are you the only projector in your family, or do you know? Because we don't always know
Yes,
our
I
parents.
am.
Sometimes.
I
Yeah,
am. My mom and my older sister are manifesting generators, and my father and my younger sister are generators. And
yeah,
oh, the manifesting generators, man, like that's just another layer with the projector. I love doing the dynamics between the relationships. That one I find to needs the most instruction because there's such different energy types. But yeah, being a projector in an all generating family was quite intense. Quite
yeah.
intense. Yeah.
And where are you? Are you the middle
I'm
child?
I'm the middle. Just throw that on. Give me the middle. Give me a sister and a sister on the other side, and then make me a projector and go have fun. Yeah,
Oh, thanks for my design.
yes. I joke with my friends sometimes, like in some spiritual traditions, they said I agreed to this life, and I just
Mhm.
want to have a conversation with the one
With that
I
bitch.
said yes. Who said yes? I'll do that.
What
Yeah.
is your conscious sun?
My conscious sun is what gate?
Yeah.
It's oh God, it's 54.
Okay. I mean,
Um,
I don't have them all memorized, but yeah.
oh no, I'm sorry, it's 48. It's essentially
Oh.
that from my memory right now. It's basically they say the most challenged gate because it's ruled by the spleen. So and it's you get your greatest lessons by basically facing your fear, and it's a fifth line. So I have to basically it's like ego death in public. It's like you have to do everything on stage, and it's basically like you face your fear, you die, and then you're reborn again, and you get to do it in front of everybody. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. So yeah, it's like when I chose to leave pharmaceutical sales and pursue a path of plant medicine work ceremony, totally against my family system. And
Mhm.
I was the family freak, the weirdo. And then thank God we're now at a stage where people are actually asking me a lot more about it and it's becoming much more well known. Or even, when Charlie and I started dating and, they think he's an astrologer. And I'm like, oh, geez, my family's just like, where did you go? But, now everyone's like, no, they're like, they're totally getting it now. And they're able to receive it differently than they were about 7 years ago. But
Mhm.
I got to do that in front of everybody. And that's what I'm here to do is to transform. And that fifth line is here to bring new ways of existence here on this planet. And so I'm walking the path. I just wonder why I chose it sometimes because it hasn't always come with total acceptance and understanding. Um,
Amen. Yeah.
yeah,
I I I hear you. What is Charlie's profile?
he's a 3-5 splenic projector.
Oh, okay. My
So
husband's 3-5 also.
oh god, okay. So they learn through their own smashing of the car in the brick wall.
Yeah, yeah, I know. I feel like when I explain the 3 line to people, sometimes it seems like a big bummer because you use the words trial and error, and
Yes,
I'm always quick to get in there and be like, "But listen, trial and error is the most primitive form of human learning. It's our most common learning type. That means you have a talent in the thing that humans need the most." I'm,
totally,
like, trying to cheerlead it.
totally. Totally. And then sometimes I'll say to him, I said, just know that I'm a 5. So before you need to slam the car in the brick wall, you can ask me, will it crash? And I could maybe say you don't need to do it, but it doesn't work. He needs to crash it himself. I'm like, okay, there you go.
There's a Netflix special, by the comedian Hassan Minhaj.
Okay.
It's so good, and I was listening to it, and I was like, "He's definitely a 5 line. I think he's a 3-5," and I went and looked it up. I actually found his birth details. He's a
Okay.
3-5. So you gotta watch it. You and
Totally.
Charlie gotta watch it because I feel like he's such an inspiration
Mm,
for 3-5, but he's an inspiration as a 5 line too, because he's just putting it out there. He's disrupting with his comedy. And you know what? It's challenging. Like his family was literally had received a death threat because he's shaking things up, with that five energy. But it's a beautiful show too. It's anyone go watch that Hassan Minhaj on Netflix.
Mm.
Really awesome. So finally, let's find out a little more about what Projector Movement is offering, and what anything else that you're doing, how people can work with you, what people can find, and would Projector Movement, is it beneficial for people? Let's say I'm a generator, but my husband's a projector, or my kid is a projector. Is that welcomed as well?
Yes. So Projector Movement, we're offering, there's a lot of different offerings at the time. So one of the offerings that would be for anyone, any designer, if you don't know your design, is that we offer really incredible, very detailed chart readings. So we have a couple chart readers and they're phenomenal. So if you're just interested in wanting to know your chart or your partner's chart, which I think this is the best, know your children's chart.
I know,
Oh my
right?
gosh. Um, I believe that will be the way of the future, that we will be able to help out our children more by understanding their needs, and not just putting them in a system, because we're not one size fits all. And human design really demonstrates that. So
Mm.
if you're interested in just getting your chart read, you can go to projectormovement.com and you can book a session to have your chart read. And then everything else at this time is geared towards projectors. We offer a lot of different trainings that we do either pre-recorded, and then Charlie and myself offer live trainings as well, where we're there interacting with you. So the live trainings are run throughout the year. And also you can go in, and if you're interested in relationships as a projector, we have courses. Like if you're interested in business, so we have specific categories that are common for projectors to want to understand. And then we have our overarching trainings, which is, I just found out I'm a projector. Now what? Now what? We offer, there are two trainings. One is basically like a projector guide, just understanding what it means to be a projector, the what. And then the next one we offer is an embodiment deconditioning training, which is, how do I be a projector now? Like, I understand what it is. And you mentioned this, which I think is so important that people realize. We all want the information, but if all we're doing is gathering information, I say we will just be like Pez dispensers. We'll just have it all up here and we won't be able to walk it. And
Yes.
so it's the actual experimenting. I think that's the word you were using.
Mhm.
It's how do I walk this way? How do I be this way instead of just understand it? And
Mhm.
that course that we're offering, and we're actually going to be offering a live training at the beginning of the year, is where we begin to learn how to actually be it.
Mhm.
So that's how you really work with us. If you join one of the live trainings, that's how people can work with me one-on-one, or Charlie one-on-one. But that's really the only way we do individual work. If not, we do more of the group sort of trainings.
Wonderful. I have to share, and people have heard this a couple of times if they listen to every episode. Who does? I mean, I don't know. Hopefully you do. I don't want to disinvite anyone from listening to
Yeah.
every episode. But when I had a guest on who's a human design expert, enthusiast, and she's also a hypnotherapist. Her name's Tressa Rivera. Anyone go listen to that episode. She was amazing. She's a manifester. She has a projector child and a generator child. And she
Mm,
does talk about how she works with them, especially like she was telling a story of her generator little boy who's like 3, I think, 3 or 4. And
mm.
when he gets frustrated playing blocks, she'll go and say, "Do you want to keep playing blocks?" And he goes, "Uh-huh." And she goes, "Okay, keep playing blocks."
Yeah,
Anyway, when Tress and I were talking about this embodying, I got this download. I got a vision, and it's like, how we go, and you even pointed at, you're like, I want to understand, or I'm trying to understand, and that we have an organic languaging there that is the key to what's happening, is that we're standing under information, but information is supposed to be inform. It only
mhm,
works if it's informed, but if we're understanding, we're literally standing underneath it. It's just staying
totally,
up here
totally.
in the mind.
I love that. I love.
Yeah. So, and then also, of course, we know that from the neck down is actually our unconscious. It's
Mm,
literally our physical body, and things don't happen unless we have the unconscious, subconscious mind on board.
yes.
So, it isn't something that we can rush. And it's not like an inoculation that we can just get it and then there we go. We're all set
Totally.
to
No,
live it.
that's what I offer people when they start, is that expectation that, if we're an onion and we're just peeling layers back one by one, you want to do that process slowly, because
Mm-hmm.
for projectors, I'll say, when you're talking to go into the body, is to really meet a lot of pain, to
Yeah.
meet a lot of life that happened to projectors that really made us feel that we didn't belong, or parents that gave us messages that made us feel like, I know for me, my sensitivity was a problem. It wasn't a gift. I was
Mm-hmm.
just too sensitive. I was, and we've built a lot of protection around these wounds, and becoming embodied is going back in and giving that attention to that inner child, if you will, that has made a life believing that there was something weird about them, or they made it they started to do a behavior. I know me, I was and still work with my perfectionism, because that was a strategy I used to try to get acceptance, because it's like, okay, well, I can't be like my sister, so maybe if I just do everything really, really good, then I'll get love. And we begin to peel back all of these behaviors that we've developed to try to get the love that we didn't get, and that we want to be really gentle with, and we want to find that safety in the body, that as projectors, I was saying from the beginning, we have a lot of injury because
Yeah.
we're trying to be a Mack truck when we're a bicycle, and we're trying to push this bike, and it's like, you just don't have the same fuel tank. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's worth the pacing, it's worth the slowing down,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because
And
that's where,
community is so
oh,
to be around your type, right?
oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Well, projectors for sure, and I would think reflector would be the same.
Well,
When you
at least with being around non-energy types is
Yes,
comforting to me.
yes, that was
I know a few reflectors. I have a reflector 5-1 friend who's also a human design reader. So we're like, hey, we're, um, so it is comforting, and
yes.
that's the best word I have for it, is
It,
comforting. I don't want to say
yeah, it is
validating even as much as just normalizing, comforting.
Yeah. Yes, it's actually one of our pieces of advice we give non-energy types, is to find non-energy types to be with. There's a validation and a relaxation that you get in
Mm-hmm.
the presence of them, versus just, generators. Not that we can't be around, and we love them as well, but having that non-sacral type, there's a similar understanding. There's a
Mm-hmm.
understanding and a frequency that's more relaxed, even for the system to be
Mm-hmm.
with for longer periods of time.
Well, and to echo, of course, I love generators, manifesting generators, and sometimes they heal me because I get a shot of their extra
Totally,
generator energy, their extra sacral, especially manifesting generators because they have so much.
totally.
I've gone to I had a coffee with a friend I hadn't seen in a while, and I was so tired, but it didn't feel right, even though I don't technically, as much inner authority as I have, it felt right to keep the appointment. And I came away feeling healed from my burnout because
Mm,
he just like, here's all this sacral energy, take some. And I'm like,
totally.
okay, yummy.
It's so funny this weekend. So Charlie and I went to Lake Arrowhead with my sister. She married a projector, and her kids are a reflector and a projector. So
Oh
she's the
no.
only generator. She's the only motor. But I was like, Charlie and I will crack up, because when there's no motor to get things done, like normal fit, like
Hmm.
we're like, none of us have that initiation. And then we get around my sister and we're like, yes, we'll go on a walk. Yes, let's go to, like, I'm like, who are we? We're like totally new. We're a cool couple that can like do things now. And it's like, we wake up on Saturday and we're like no one's wanting to go run the errand. No one's wanting to do anything.
Clean
Like,
the house. That's what I
no,
ask my
no,
projector couple friends. I'm like, who cleans? How do you get the house cleaned? They're like, we
no,
hire someone. Yes.
no. Having that generator boost is awesome. I'm like, I feel
Hmm.
amazing. This is
Yeah.
so good.
Yes, but so I just wanted to balance it out because yeah, we really benefit from being around that delicious sacral energy sometimes. But yeah, an overload of it when it's just uh, going to a party. I went to a party like on Halloween, actually, or a few days around Halloween, and I knew going in, I was like, even if I'm there 2 hours, it's gonna be. I'm gonna soak up that sacral energy, even if I don't, if I have an intention to really be as grounded and in my own, authority as possible, it's still just going to happen. I can't not do that. I
Totally.
cannot overdo it. I can bring some awareness to it. And yeah, I had a really hard time sleeping that night. I woke up every hour because I was like, bzz,
Totally.
like I'd been shot by electricity.
Yes. We speak to that too. We call it like, if you're a non-sacral type projector, reflector, even manifestor, like you need to know your functional range in social
Yeah.
situations, and then have a protocol when you leave to, I call it defrag, to like actually allow the sacral energy to leave, whether it's a salt bath or just an intention, putting your hands in the earth, whatever it is. We have to be mindful, or else you won't sleep, or we have to factor that into our system, that when we ride that generating wave, we then also need to rest afterwards as well, or else
Mm-hmm.
that's where injury comes in, or burnout comes in, or illness comes in, because
Mm-hmm.
we aren't designed to run 24/7 in that level of generating energy, but we can definitely ride the wave for time periods.
For a certain amount, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to add to that in case any generators are listening go, wait, I relate to that. I would say open centers, that there's, you know what I mean? But the sacral is so, so powerful. That's what's so beautiful about it. So yeah, if you have an open emotional center, you might relate to that if you're around a lot of emotions
Yes.
and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. No, my younger sister, she's got a totally open solar plexus, and she's got 4 other open centers. So her experience in life too also requires more downtime. She's highly sensitive. She just has that sacral energy, so she's able to operate there. But just because, even if you're not a projector, you can have elements in your chart that also require you to decompress a lot after being with people, or need more alone time. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. And to those of you who have more definition than, say, your partner's friends or kids, um, we're not being lazy. we're not being
Oh my
we're
God.
not being
Oh,
brats. We're not being self-centered. It's just,
no,
you know,
no,
I
totally.
that's the same reason why I can't dunk.
Right. No, it's so true. To my past bosses, to my teachers,
Yes.
like
Yes.
the expectation, it's actually not lazy at all. And,
Yeah.
you know, projectors, I will say this, we have these, what we can get done in 4 hours can take other people a week. When we
Mhm.
have our creative spurt of energy, we can get a lot done, and then then need just a lot of rest time. So
Yeah.
just the way that we do things in life is very different. And
Intensity is your
yes,
keynote.
intensity. And I actually just was writing a post about this. For those who are in a relationship with projectors, encourage them to rest,
Yeah.
or encourage them, if give them that choice. Oh, if you can't go out this night, don't worry about it. That's really, so if you're in relationship or in family as a projector, support their system in a way that, don't guilt them if they're telling you, no, I can't go to this family dinner, or I can't go to this concert, or not able to help out with you moving. Anything like that, really try to support that no, because know that that's one of the hardest things for projectors to do, is say no to people, because we're designed to want to help. But that's the healthiest projector, is the one that is able to say no and feel supported in that, and is encouraged to take pauses and encouraged to rest. That's really a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
Projectors are beautiful. Well, Sarah, this has been just so amazing. I just appreciate the work that you're doing. I
Mm.
appreciate the work that the projector movement is doing. And I just am so grateful that you are shining this light and bringing this beautiful intensity of the projector message and support to the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This is a wonderful conversation. Thank you for having me.
I just had the best time. I just feel so at home in the energy of projectors. Maybe because I literally have one at home, as I discussed. They're doing really beautiful work at Projector Movement. So check out what Sarah and Charlie have there. They have a great Instagram profile. And so that's one way you can start to get a taste of it. And of course, find the link in the description for the website to see what offers they have going on. Well, I agree with Sarah that I think there is a powerful shift that is going to occur as human design becomes more ubiquitous, becomes more of a tool for people to actually apply to parenting. And so I do know I have some friends who have young children right now who have gotten into their human design experiment and are considering this as they are raising their children. And I just think it's so beautiful. You know, it's still going to be, we're still going to be conditioned. That's just how it is, because parents have to guide their children to be able to interact with how things are in society. And children, in addition to just the parents actually having to say, hey, you know, you got to interact with society in this way, even though it's more fun to do this other thing, you know, you got to wear pants. In addition to parents offering that guidance that can turn into conditioning, we're just going to pick it up by our peers, our teachers, and anything else. Our children are going to pick that up. But being able to, as much as possible, give your children the awareness to stay in alignment, because children are in alignment. I think that's going to be so amazing. And that is why our future is even more bright than it has been before. Really, really is. Okay, that's what I have for you. Now, I do also want to make an invitation for you to check the show notes for not only the Projector Movement, definitely for the Projector Movement, but also any offerings I have going on. Do join my mailing list, because I'm about to launch another program, and that is how I will let you know about, well, free things that I offer, like meditations that I drop every now and again, and my blog and article posts, but also the many different education and coaching opportunities that I have. And I would love to work with you. So join the newsletter. That's the best way to do it. And I had the best time today. I hope you did too. I hope you felt the blessing of being who you authentically, cosmically, miraculously are, because you are all of that, and we really, really need you. So thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.